Yes, but
I really want one, but my desk is not strong enough to hold up what I have.
My third one's sitting on a very wide nightstand that's right next to my desk.
Well, there you
go. Which I also use the drawers for putting all of my computer components inside of. So I've got like extra cables and stuff like that in there.
Right.
And let's just bust this out right now. Got some D&D player sheets in here, you know, some spell casting sheets,
yeah, there you go.
In case a random D&D game breaks out. Guys, I'm available, you know.
We can only save the president by giving him a character sheet.
I forgot, I got my fucking Pathfinder player's guide.
Oh, nice.
So I switched. I finally did the big switch to Firefox.
Okay.
I fucking hate not having a native fucking tab organizer. Having to use a third-party tab organizer is fucking annoying as shit.
Yeah.
Because now when I want to open up a different tab that's in a different group, I have to, you know, essentially close the ones I want and then basically copy and paste it to the one I need it to be in.
Gotcha.
So I just had to try and remember what email address you sent the show notes to, Boston, so I could open it in the appropriate TVGP recording tab group.
Sure.
Because I have a tab group for all of the different shows I do, which means I have 15 tab groups.
Right.
And trying to remember what needs to go with where is a little bit ridiculous sometimes.
You gotta keep it all organized.
I try. I keep this organized, and then this is a shit show of a mess. Like
baby steps, man.
Yeah. Yeah, baby steps is I should have fucking cleaned this fucking room I sit in a year and a half ago.
Yeah, but that sounds like a lot of work, though.
Exactly. It fucking is, dude. It's so much work.
Sounds like effort that could be used to playing more video games.
See, now we're talking.
Or, in my case this week, it's an effort that could be used in not moving and being in fucking agony all goddamn. The weather is killing me, guys. Like, my body is done.
That pressure changes and your body's like, nope, I hate it. Ouch.
You touch a leaf and your sinuses just fucking...
It reminds me of the... it's one of the WWE pay-per-views. They have a really good intro about Stone Cold Steve Austin, and it's like all about how broken he is. And it's like, yeah, that's me, like every day this fucking week. Like I get home and it takes all my effort to not just curl up in a ball and try and fall asleep, and then
you sit on the couch and it looks like one of those Mortal Kombat X-rays where you're like, oh, my lower back, oh, my knees, oh, my elbow, crack. Hey, Favor.
It's everything. It's just like I'm so fucking done with everything. Like I'm so out of it that I didn't even know there was an AEW pay-per-view last night, because with the whole tooth thing and everything else that was happening and the 8 hours of leaves, I just wanted to sit in the dark and not do anything. Like just close my eyes, sit in the dark, and listen to a podcast. Waypoint's backlog was what I was listening to. Specifically listening to them talk about Wolfenstein, which makes me realize how fucking great the 2 Wolfenstein games I played were. Why aren't there more? Question mark. Anyway,
they'll probably get there.
Hopefully.
It's been what was that last DLC?
The VR one
Youngblood,
was the last one.
Was it? Yeah. Okay. So that was back in what, 2017?
It's been a while, yeah.
About, yeah.
Yeah.
So they usually, I mean, it's better than waiting, 20 years for them to even mention the name again.
That's true. Alrighty, you guys ready to kick this thing off?
Yeah. I just had to remember to silence my phone again.
Okay. Stretch here a little bit. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpear.
Hello.
And the Nymph.
Happy Leaf Day.
Happy Leaf Day. Happy American Thanksgiving this week, too. I also think it's TVGP's birthday this week, too. It's usually at the end of November. I'm not sure if it's this week or next week. Either way, happy birthday to the show. It's only been like 25 years since I started this thing.
You think Papa TVGP would have the dates right by now?
You would think, but here we are. That's us. We do have a bunch of stuff to talk about over on the Patreon page, patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones are the numbers.
We got the usual stuff over there. It's it may not be new, but it is great. Well, it's new this week at the Outcast. That's right. That's right. It's new to you. Got the please don't sue us. It's the Outcast is brand new this week. That's the uncensored sort of behind the scenes and talk about the rest of the stuff that's going on in our life. That comes out every week. The $2 or higher tier. You can get the early access to We Roguelike It and Critical Misses, a show where both of those shows I've roped Moon into watching and playing a bunch of stuff, seemingly against his will, but we're having a good time. Those are good episodes. You should listen to them.
Seemingly against my will?
Seemingly? I mean, we have fun sometimes playing and watching stuff.
When you
enjoyed the movie.
Each pre-show with an expletive, I mean...
That's right.
Yeah.
A heaving sigh of like, here we are again. But we do have two things to talk about. The first season of The Wayward Sons, which is a Supernatural TV show Watchcast, is wrapping up here in the next couple of weeks. So if you wanted to get the entirety of all of the episodes... I'm not pulling them down or anything. It's not going to be like, well, you missed first season, so whatever, sucker.
That's what you think.
That's right. So none of those episodes are going away or anything. But if you want to get in on the ground floor and get in over there, get all the episodes over there.
That reminds me. Someone remind me at the end of the show to text Mackie and tell him to start watching Supernatural. Thank you. That's it. That's all I have to say.
There you go. So you can get all of that over there. That's a $5 or higher tier over there. And I went this week and did something, and I made another episode of Dynamic Soundtrack.
I caught this from the general feel on Discord, where suddenly Boston's like, "Hey guys, what music do you recommend from this year?" And I was like, "Yes, my feed is going to update. Dynamic Soundtrack is back, baby."
Yeah, so I did a best of 2023 episode. It is over 3.5 hours of 2023 music. It is a large episode, so give it a little bit of time to download in your feed. Normally, this would go up on the $5 or higher tier on Patreon. It's going to go up on the $2 or higher tier for this one. It'll be coming out this Friday. The day after Thanksgiving here in the U.S. It'll come out on the public feed a month after that. But I hope you enjoy, because there's so much music in there. It's such a monstrously long and gigantic episode. So
is this the first year-end wrap-up one that you've ever done?
No, I used to do, every once in a while I would do ones when the schedule would kind of line up appropriately for a season. So I think I've done at least one other one before, maybe that was in season 1. But this is, I think this is the first one that I've done that was kind of like, all right, I'm going to go and make a distinct episode for celebrating the music. Also, if you've never listened to Dynamic Soundtrack, go to dynamicsoundtrack.com. That's the podcast I do about video game music, kind of celebrating themes and all that. Yep. All that. Go listen to the Relaxing with Dynamic Soundtrack. Those are the ones that people seem to like the most. Of, hey, here's an hour of relaxing video game music.
Yep.
So go check all of that out. Brand new episode coming out here at the end of the week. You can get all of that. Go ahead.
The only reason I ask about the year-end wrap-up one, by the way, is because people who are listening probably don't realize how much editing goes into something like that. And if, like him or hate him, if you go check out the Rebel FM, usually does a year-end soundtrack episode, best music of the year, and it's usually the same, about 3 hours and change, and it's just a rundown of here is some of the best music of the year. And it's really cool. Like, if you like me, your choices are limited on what you're playing each year. It's very good to be able to go back and just listen to the vibe check of how the year has been in general.
Well, it was fun for me too, because I I talk about it at the beginning of the episode, but I didn't play. There's 57 tracks in that episode, so that's a lot of music, and I didn't play very many of those games at all. So it was fun for me too to go and figure out like, oh, this game was pretty popular. Like Lies of P has an outstanding soundtrack. Like I really blown away that that soundtrack was as good as it was. So it was fun for me to kind of revisit or visit for the first time a bunch of tracks for this year. Faber in chat says, will that be on the public TVGP? No, that's over on dynamicsoundtrack.com. If a bunch of people want me to put on the TVGP one, I can, but that might blow up that feed for size reasons. But if there is a large outcry about it, go write the host of this show and let him know. But as the moment it sits on dynamicsoundtrack.com, and there is a RSS feed over there too. So
yes, I have to find it in my millions of podcasts again.
Yeah,
list.
All right, all of that stuff and more over at patreon.com/E1M1.
Ones and numbers.
Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Well, let's open up with how terrible Boston is with dates. How does that sound?
That's pretty common. Yeah.
The official birthday of the podcast Boston is October 26th, 2007.
Cool. It's just a hot month off. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I now have a reminder set in my calendar for TVGP's birthday, just so you know.
Let me open up my calendar. I should probably do that too. October 26th. Let's go back to the previous month.
Yeah.
Yup.
Papa TVGP only went out for milks and cigarettes and never came back.
That's right. Happy birthday, TVGP. There it is in the calendar.
Okay, so I barely even touched Marvel Snap this week. That tells you how messed up my brain is. I only really played two things. I played a skosh of Forza Horizon 5 because the second season in the series began on Thursday. Don't laugh.
You got it.
Boston.
Nope.
It's gonna be the same for a week.
Yep. Nope. I love it. You nailed it. I like it.
It's the second season has started, so I need to do all of those events. Why did I pick this series to do? The one where Thanksgiving is right here, and I have nothing but busy periods between now and then. I don't know, but whatever.
Because you had hope.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I even downloaded Forza 5 to help you whenever you needed it. All you have to do is just reach out and say, I need another idiot for like 2 hours.
And I'm that idiot.
Yes. Honestly, it's when I have the time is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's the thing that I bump into the most. But yes, the second season of the series has begun. So there's a bunch of new events, bunch of new everything that I need to do. And I literally booted it up and was like, cool, I'm going to do all these events. And then stopped playing it like 10 minutes later. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm too tired and too sore to do this right now. So I ended up not doing that instead. So that is something I have to do between now and Thursday to make sure I can actually get my achievements that I want to go. It's still a great game. And it's taken all my effort to not buy the DLC because the DLC is incredible.
The Hot Wheels one especially is really good.
And I know you don't like rally stuff, but I love them.
It's really
rally,
well done.
So.
Yeah, it didn't click with me, but it's really like there's a reason why the Forza Horizon games are always installed on my Xbox until the next one comes out, because they're the perfect games to just fire up and be like, yeah, all right, I feel like maybe racing here for a little bit. I don't know what else to play.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do some Forza.
Oh, man, I completely forgot you can rewind in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I just saw that in the video. No, I want you to know, I installed that game after you and I had talked for a little bit. And I get into it, and I'm in some, like, Hello Kitty themed out, like, eclipse. And I'm like, I have no clue what I was doing here. And so I just did, like, a couple races. And I was like, all right, yeah, no, this is still fun. Completely forgot about the rewind feature, though. Didn't even
just how good
my
you
mind.
It's the Y button, by the way.
Yeah.
Also, Your partner, does she still drive under the Nymph's girl?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you still getting lambasted?
A-hole.
No, so
and total.
The story behind that is that that is probably either my son when he was younger or my daughter, because they would also both play under my wife's account.
Blaming it on the kids, I see.
My wife, no. My wife is not the one driving. My daughter, though, will jump over a mountain to hit your front end. Like, she just does not care.
So good.
Insert appropriate Michael Jordan meme here.
Right.
Yeah, even then, I was getting that way too, where it's like I jumped into like the little what was it, the aerial buggy, and like I was just blowing through the countryside. It's like I don't even use roads anymore. It's like just keep going until the tree stops me.
That's because the Atom is one of the best cars ever created. It melted Jeremy Clarkson's face. For that, I will forever have its respect in my heart.
Yeah, seriously.
But no, it's fun. It is beautiful as always, and because I'm doing all of the challenges now that I didn't normally used to do, I'm getting a whole bunch more of those like accolades and achievements and all of that kind of stuff. And I forgot how memey they were. I remember we had a discussion on this show when this game first came out about how full of memes those
and like how punny they are.
Yeah, some of them are absolutely atrocious. But I'm getting all of the ones I wouldn't normally get because I'm doing a bunch of events I wouldn't normally do. Like that kind of thing.
I like that in-game accolade system a whole lot. I think for me it's great. I really like systems like that because sometimes I want to play this game and I want to do something, but I'm not sure what I want to do. And I'm like, oh yeah, let me look at the accolades. It's like, oh, race from point A to point B in under X number of seconds. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm going to start at this point. I'm going to drop a marker and I'm just going to see how I get there. Like there's a bunch of cool stuff in there.
The badges seem to be the same way too, which I don't know if those were added for an update or something, because I only unlocked one when I reinstalled it and did a couple different races, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you got badges, and then I got an achievement.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's a new thing or I got the never did anything
very recently too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I don't know what that is, but okay, sure.
This game has so many what is it at, like 1,500 now?
Something like that. Yes.
Yeah, it's way ridiculous.
Up there.
Yeah. So while looking at the accolades, I actually got asked, like, why is there so much of this stuff in there? It's like, it's for those people who buy, like, 2 games a year, and it's the racing game and the Madden game, or in my case, the FIFA game.
Yeah.
It's for those people who, when they run out of things to do, there is still a huge list of things to do.
And when they finish it, Forza Horizon 6 is out.
Exactly. If they even get that far, because there's so many of them accolades, it's ridiculous.
Right.
I know. I have, and will continue to have a very good time playing it.
Yep.
I don't. That's We Roguelike It, so I'm not going to talk about that here. Let's see. So the only other game I played was Alan Wake Remastered, essentially.
Nice.
I have beaten. I do. You saw my Blue Sky.
I did.
Tweet, twarp, whatever the hell they're calling it. Skeet. I don't know.
Yeah, your cloud. I don't know. Yeah.
Yes. My raindrop. That's just my thoughts in general. I beat the game on the normal difficulty. I'm now already playing it through on nightmare difficulty because I need those stupid collectibles that only appear on the hardest difficulty. Because why not be a stupid game? I do like the fact that because I'm playing it so soon after beating it, like, I'm just flying through it. I'm like halfway through chapter 2 in like 2 hours. It's like, wow, this game is really short if you just book it.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing, yeah.
Do you get it? Book it.
Yes. You
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
want me to write that down as a title?
Yes,
are you proud of that one?
Yes, I am. So, Boston.
Yeah.
Write down the time, please.
Why am I writing down the time?
Because I'm about to spoil Alan Wake, and I don't know if you want to particularly demark the fact that it is going to be Alan Wake spoilers for this chapter of the show.
But
yeah, that's true. There's
parenthetical
spoilers
here.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
So,
whoop, whoop, whoop.
if you have not played Alan Wake and you are interested in playing the first Alan Wake before you play 2, like I am, skip to the next chapter when it's Nim's turn to talk.
That's right. Don't forget the podcast has chapters in it.
Uh-huh. So, as Nim suggested, I have a theory. I think Alan Wake is a character created by Zane. Because I watched a lot of videos, by the way, on the history of Alan Wake and the AWE experience, thinking, I'll watch these and then play Alan Wake 2. Yeah. Well, I watched them before I started playing this because I thought, well, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to watch a video on the story and then jump to Alan Wake 2.
And you're not going to go play Control in the DLC before you do it, because that's a lot of extra time.
Yes. But then I realized I have Alan Wake Remastered and I've never played it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the Control Enhanced Edition or Game of the Year Edition or whatever it's called, and I've never played it. So I started playing Alan Wake Remastered. One of the things that is never brought up in any of the videos that I have seen with regards to the story for Alan Wake is the fact that the whole thing that Alan needs to find to fight the darkness, which is in the lake, is the clicker. Everybody makes a big deal about the clicker. What no one seems to realize is when he finds the clicker, he finds a manuscript page written by Thomas Zane describing Alan Wake's life as a child and the whole origin of the clicker.
Oh, right.
Yep. And Thomas Zane wrote himself out of existence, with the only exception being whatever was placed inside of this shoebox.
Mm.
And inside of the shoebox is the clicker and the page that describes Alan's childhood, which tells me that Alan is actually a character created by Thomas Zane, which is how he created the clicker and how he created Alan's history kind of thing.
Sure.
Was on this one manuscript page. So Alan Wake is a author who was actually created by a different author.
I really wish I had played that Control DLC.
That's next on my list.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that answers these questions.
Yeah, because at this point, it pretty much breaks it down to, all right, so Zane is now God, and Alan is his champion of light fighting the darkness.
Right.
Essentially. Well, Zane also shows up in the diving outfit to Alan Wake because Alan Wake wrote Thomas Zane into the manuscript.
Yeah, at least an aspect of Zane. Yeah.
So Thomas Zane is Alan Wake's father, technically speaking, because he created him.
Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
There you go.
Let's just break down theology. Let's go.
Figured it out.
One of the best things about Alan Wake is it never explicitly says yes or no to any of the many theories in this.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this game is it doesn't give you hard answer. It just kind of leaves, like, you know what Alan's trying to do, but you never really, in the first game, get any confirmation on what's actually happening.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
You get the book side of Alan, and then you get the real world side of Alan, who's in the room in the cabin writing the stuff, and they intermingle with each other in many different ways. And I like the fact that it's never concrete. It's never 100% told exactly what the thing is. But it was when I got to the shoebox, which is in the well-lit room, all capitalized because it's title, well-lit room, capitalized everything. And I got the shoebox and I got the clicker and I was like, oh, I remember the clicker. The clicker's like cool. And then I read the manuscript page. It's like, wait, this is Zane's manuscript page. This isn't Alan Wake who's written this. This is Thomas Zane who's written this. Does that mean that Alan is a creation of Thomas Zane?
Right.
And makes me think that he kind of is. It's an inception of artists, and I kind of appreciate it for being that way. I also totally forgot that there's a whole bunch of in-world references to obviously the old gods of Asgard, and Poets of the Fall are in there too, and everything else that is in this game. It's just like, yeah, okay.
Forget there's a whole concert right in the middle of the game. which is a very fantastic fight scene.
Yep.
It is, and I completely forgot about it until I got there, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is because the Poet and the Muse song, which is the song by the Old Gods of Asgard that plays during that sequence, is about Thomas Zane and Thomas Zane's wife. It's not about Alan; it's about Thomas. Like that's the whole purpose of that thing is." They are telling Alan how to defeat the darkness by telling the story of Thomas. It's Inception levels of crazy is how I feel like at sometimes. And mechanically, the game is not perfect. Like, let's just get that out of the way. Alan Wake is a good game. It's not a great game. It is definitely a good game. The concepts and thoughts behind it are actually genuinely great. I will say I do think I like Quantum Break more than Alan Wake, and I really wish that they would go back to the Quantum Break universe at some point too, because that game is a game that I absolutely adored way too much considering what it was.
And, you know, they're tying them all together, so maybe.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why I want to play Alan Wake 2 is because I want to play the Control DLC because I want to experience all of that madness. And then also I want to play Alan Wake 2 because it seems like Remedy have got themselves in this point where they're like, yeah, screw it. Like, everything gets tied in.
Yeah.
I really enjoy them marketing their other series in one video game that they just created in a new IP.
Right.
And like the fact that they at the start of Alan Wake, when you first start picking up manuscripts, you're picking up the books from the pages from Alan's book that he's been writing, and it reads like a Max Payne like novel.
Yeah,
because it's gritty, like noir kind of storytelling. It's like, okay, I get it. This is a Max Payne reference, very, very nicely done. But I don't know. I'm trying to fly through the game right now on Nightmare difficulty to get like the 6 collectibles I have left to get, which is just the manuscript pages. Once I'm done with that, I have the DLC for Alan Wake, which is included in the remaster that I've never played. Then I have to figure out, do I do the control dive or do I not do the control dive? Like, that's the big question at that point.
I was just sitting here thinking that too, because I'm like, I didn't play any of that Control DLC, and I know the Alan Wake DLC in Control is important for Alan Wake 2. I was thinking, yeah, I could play Control again. That game was great.
The AWE DLC.
Well, just remember, they added in like all those accessibility options, which also includes a God mode. So,
all right, now we're talking. Yeah,
I know. So, pump that thing on the hardest difficulty and just walk through it and enjoy.
Yeah, I might just do that.
That was very, very tempting. And I did just check, and yes, I do own the Control Ultimate Edition, which means that is not only the DLC, that is a brand new stack of achievements for me to get. Because it's a completely different game than the original Control.
And I never played it with the ray tracing stuff on either, which I know that game looks really good. The ray tracing mode on consoles looks good.
God, you guys need to stop talking about Control. We're going to start playing it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I own it, and I can happily install it once I've uninstalled Alan Wake, and then I'll be good to go onto Alan Wake 2.
That's right. Yeah. Best old game, Alan Control. Alan Control. That's it.
I only have less than 30 days approximately before we have to record Game of the Year. I'm sure I'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, it'll be fine.
Here's the good news. I have vacation days I need to burn.
Oh, there you go. Control.
And I already booked them for the end of November. So
perfect.
It falls within Game of the Year window. Do I like? There you go. Should I like just order like a giant like pizza from probably Pizza Hut? No, Domino's. No. The really crappy one. Little Caesars.
It's not crappy. It's cost effective and good.
Yes. Shall I get like one of those days? Just get a Little Caesars meal deal for $6. And then just sit by myself in the basement and eat the whole thing while I play Control for 19 hours straight.
Yes.
How bad do you want to feel when you walk out of that? Because I have on top of Little Caesars. I have other food suggestions for you.
There you go. You make a day of
trust
it.
me.
Treat yourself.
Yeah.
I'll do Little Caesars one day and a garbage plate the next day, so that way I just feel all kinds of horrible.
You just
There
get
you
like
go.
a bucket of gummy bears or something, some
Yeah.
energy drinks.
Yes, that is all I have been playing. Never take it away from me, please, so I don't have to talk anymore. My face
You have to
hurts.
figure out what flavors of gummy bears you want in that bucket. All right. So our Tuesday gameplay nights have been hit or miss, mostly because of me, because I've been busy. But we have been kind of playing Payday 3.
Okay.
And this last week,
you know how much effort it took me to not just jump in, by the way? Like, because I saw you guys playing it, and I was like, Dad, I like Payday 3. Oh, wait, no, I'm tired and sore. I'm going to not play today.
Anyway, I know Brain Eater came on one time when we were playing too, but it was just when we were getting off. Like, we were literally just talking about how tired we all were, and we were going to get off, and then he jumps into our party, and we're like, man, I am so sorry, but we're done for tonight.
He's West Coast as well, so
yeah,
he's earlier than you guys.
But yeah, so this last week I played with Faeror. Before that, it was Angel Eye and Faeror. Angel Eye's been busy with life stuff, and we all kind of forgot it was Tuesday until Faeror remembered and then reached out, and they were like, are we doing anything? And I'm like, yeah, we can.
Oh, yeah, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So we did the same thing of, we're not going to do the tutorial, we're just going to jump in. I didn't play any of the Payday games before, but I had a general idea of what they are just because of how popular they've been. That has not helped me at all with trying to play this game, knowing anything about it, because the very first time we played, the very first thing you get is a bank heist, I believe, just like a small-time bank heist. And I already threw on my mask just crossing the street trying to figure out buttons, which alerted everybody. So we didn't even make it into the building, and I had already messed it up for everyone.
Hey, that is the Payday way.
Yeah. Right. So we ran that first mission the first time we played several times, just trying to get a feel for everything, and then trying to figure out like the little nuances. Like you have like these little objectives that you can do, and we were trying to figure out find like the server thing in the bank. Well, we went everywhere in the bank and couldn't find a server, and then there's one room that has like a blue door key thing. Could never find the blue door key. So we just never did that. It's like, all right, cool, whatever. It's extra money we could have gotten, no big deal. This last week when we played, we moved on and did a couple different missions. There was one on a bridge where it was like an armored truck for some reason was stationed up on a platform. You have to get under there and set up some wiring thing to short it so that way it opens up the doors.
You hijack it and then they basically remote control it so that you can get underneath it, yes.
Yeah.
It's not a bad mission, but that's a go loud right at the beginning.
Yeah, it definitely was, because we were not there that long before we started getting shot at. And then I'm camped up underneath that thing, just like shooting everything that walks by. Because for some reason, being under the truck was a blind spot, so that worked out for me. But at the end of that mission, we had been there so long, hucking so much money into the helicopter on the side of the bridge, that we started getting these bigger unit, like the Juggernaut units. I forget what they call them, bulldozers or dozers or something like that. They're basically Juggernauts with like the full bomb squad, armor set on
to take out. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a couple of those on the field, and then they kept adding more and more things coming after you. And it got down to Faeror got down, one of our other people got down. The other person was already waiting at the evac. I was like, all right, I'm going to run back and get Faeror. I run up the stairs, and they are just covered in people. I'm like, nope. I lob a grenade, turn around, and run back downstairs and go for the evac. So the best part about that is that we all, no matter how many of you make it, if one of you makes it, we'll all get money.
Yep.
Okay.
It's just you get a little less money depending on how many people have been captured. So basically, you go down and your team has a certain amount of time. I think it's like 20 seconds, 15 seconds, something like that, to revive you. And then you go down. And while you are waiting for your respawn counter to go, you're considered captured. And eventually you'll respawn, and then you just pick back up where you left off. But usually for us, nobody ever really went down until it was close enough for the mission for us to leave. So then it turns into, okay, do we try to save them and possibly go down ourselves, or do we just say, screw it, we're out of here, and we take the like $8,000 hit or whatever on the $600,000 that we're about to get, you know? So usually we always yell, just leave, just go, just leave me.
Just leave me behind.
We'll take the money. The last one that we did was another bank heist. This one, or I'm sorry, no, it wasn't a bank. What? It was like an art museum or something. I don't even know. But
is it
so you start in the back and there's like a whole crowd of people. Yeah, and there's like 3 stories or whatever.
Yeah.
One guy, I wasn't paying attention, and all of a sudden I see one of our guys is on the vent. I'm like, huh? How did he get up there? And that's when Ferror says, "Oh, you have to be able to jump. You have to have your mask on." Okay. So I put my mask on to jump on the vent, but I'm in a crowd of people when I do it.
Well,
Boom!
yes.
Alarm goes off.
Oh, yes.
So I'm like, sorry, that was me again. I was trying to jump. I was trying to do what this other person did. Didn't. And I don't. Can you take your mask off if you put it on?
No. The
Okay.
second it's on, it is stuck on, because this is something that me and Rob had some difficulties working through, was like which one of us, because we try to do it stealth as much as we can, and it's the Assassin's Creed approach. You go stealth as far as you can, and then when things go loud, they just go loud and you deal with it.
Yeah, no witnesses.
So what we would do is we would end up, one of us would put our mask on in order to do the jumping and the hacking and all of the other stuff that you need to do.
Yeah.
And then try and assist the other person. So like there's a nightclub level where I put my mask on.
We got that one.
I was crawling through the vents, shooting cameras and guards as Rob was walking past them, essentially.
Nice.
So a guard would spot him and walk towards him, and I would be like in the sky just going and just knocking these people down. And then finding my way down there to pick up the bodies and hide the bodies so that he could continue the stealth section, and then try and get as far as we can doing it in that way. And then eventually things go loud, and then we deal with it.
When we did that nightclub one, we don't know what happened, but all of a sudden the alarm went off, and like nobody knew what was happening. And we think we had a person with us, and we think they set it off by accident. And then one of the other randos that was with us got super mad, and so the other person left, and we weren't in chat with any of them, but like the other random that we had with us just like started shooting at the rest of us, which doesn't seem to do anything. But
right,
on low difficulties, no.
Yeah, so we're like, all right, man, whatever. Meanwhile, the nightclub thing's yelling at us about how you need to get the encrypted drive before it gets deleted, and I'm like, I don't know where that is, and this is a big map, so that's already gone. Whatever. So, but with the painting one, once I set off the alarm by accident, I was trying to figure out if I could take the mask off, and to put on your mask, it's a left bumper on the Xbox. Once your mask is on, that turns into, this is your grenade button now. And I found that out because I was like, oh, maybe if I hold down left bumper, it'll take my mask off. No, that is just me cooking a grenade. So then I had to get rid of a grenade that I was holding and hucked it into a crowd of people. So we took a pretty hefty fine on killing civilians on that one too.
Oh boy.
But yeah, it has been fun trying to figure it out. There, like one map that we all did together, we had a random that was like level 140 something.
Jeez.
And we just followed that guy. Like I had even said when he came into the match, it's like, oh, this guy's gonna carry us. We're just whatever that person's doing, just follow them, and then we'll just support. That's all. And yeah, we got, I think on that one we got the highest. I think we got like 600,000 or 800,000 out of that run. And that dude knew what he was doing, or she, whoever, they knew what they were doing. So all right, cool. But yeah, it's been being stealthy is fun. Screwing up at the wrong moment is fun.
Yep.
And going loud in general is fun. We started getting like cloakers in the nightclub one. We got people who have like stealth suits.
The ninjas. We literally shout ninjas whenever they show up.
We had no clue. Like I heard over the radio, it's like, oh, cloakers on site or something like that. And I was just about to say, what is that? And I start hearing something in my headset. I'm like, what is that noise?
And all of a sudden, patter of little feet.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, I am on the ground, and this guy is just on top of me, just beating me.
Wails away, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And one of the other people managed to shoot him off of me, and I was like, man, that was really weird. And then I hear the noise again, and all of a sudden I see like a horror movie. The guy who just saved me, all of a sudden, thoop, through a door, and I look through the door, and the guy is just on top. It was like the hunter from Left 4 Dead.
Right.
Where it's just on top of him, just being. So I shoot him off of there. I was like, man, that was actually kind of freaky.
Jeez.
So, but it is a very fun game. Right now in the video, it shows the grenade launcher. That's like your, what do they call that? Your genocide weapon or something. It's got a weird name. But basically, you build up your bar, and then you can call in either a grenade launcher.
Is that your
or
overkill weapon?
Yeah, something like that. Or you can call in like a 50 cal rifle. And the 50 cal rifle I got to use, somebody else called it in, and they always come in at like the weirdest places. You don't have, at least we haven't figured out, you can't tell it, hey, drop this weapon here. It's always, oh, you're here, your weapon drop is way over here on the other side of the map now.
Mm.
So I just happened to be where the anti-material rifle dropped, and I grabbed it. The thing's got like a cool, it's like a perfect dark scope where you can see through walls, and it highlights all the enemies and the cameras and stuff.
Ooh.
So I was just sitting there like picking people off through walls and stuff and covering people until I ran out of bullets because it's a one-hit kill. So
nice.
But it's been a lot of fun. Just all kinds of weird, crazy chaos, and us not understanding what is happening or what is expected of us has really made it fun. So, the next game that I have played is Spirit Hunters Infinite Horde.
Yeah, me too.
I did play a couple of rounds of this. I totally forgot.
I want you guys to know I have the platinum in this game now.
Dang, let's go.
Of course.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. The hardest thing was not hardcore.
Mm.
It was that stupid garbage character, Sickle the Fallen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had to
Guy who can't heal.
Yep, I had to do one brutal mission with him so I could unlock the last node in the brutal web on the normal difficulty. I ended up doing it on the... it has three brutal levels, and I did it on the first one, which I believe is the desert one.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Because the other two, your choice is either the Viper Village or the Cemetery. Oof. And those are both levels where they just are constantly hawking enemies at you, and some of the bigger enemies have that AoE around them.
Yeah.
And you just don't have anywhere to move to get away, to give yourself some breathing space.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the desert, it's wide open. You can pretty much run anywhere you need to. So just being able to move around helped out a lot. And I got it on the first try.
Nice.
Meanwhile, I did try it several times on the other two just because it had a better weapon selection than the desert one. But yeah, that's when I started running into, it's like, okay, I can't heal. This 300 HP is not going to last me. And I would always get to around 9 to 12 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, I'm dead. This run is just screwed. I can't do anything about it. So once I got that, it was like, cool, I'm going to go into hardcore mode so I can get that final trophy. This used to be, looking at everything online, this used to be a 500 node, not a 100 node.
Oh, wow. 500 is a lot.
It is. But it's honestly not that bad playing on hardcore. I just took it slower. Like, I replayed that first level a couple of times. The very first time through, it was kind of iffy. It was a little touch and go with that wizard. But as soon as I unlocked the knight for myself and I had the ivy,
sure,
it was a lot easier because with the knight I could give myself more room with its ultimate ability, and that also recharges your health a little bit depending on how many people you push back. And every time he summons the ivy, you get +2 HP. So it made it a lot easier. But I replayed that first level a couple of times, and then once I got enough of that filled out, or enough of the web filled out, so I got the rest of the weapons and the rest of those nodes, I then moved on to, okay, now I need to kill like 300 of these ghost things, so let me go do this level real quick.
Right.
And it only took me about 2-ish hours in hardcore mode to unlock 100 nodes. Yeah. So you just Like I said, just take it simple. Just because it's real easy to get in a pickle in that game. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked this game. I really enjoyed playing it. There are some things that annoy me, like I've brought up before, but the only major complaint I have is just that Sickle is a garbage character.
Yep.
I mostly had the itch this week to play it, and I'm going through the brutal levels to try and beat all those. I'm also doing like some of the character challenges just because I know I'll need some of those, but most of them are just fun to do. And those brutal levels, by the time you unlock them and you started unlocking the bottom of the web with all the brutal upgrades, they're most of the time they're really not that bad. Like you have to you have to pay attention. You're not just going to steamroll them. But man, the one I'm having the hardest time with is actually just the second level. It's the desert one with all the like rib cages pointing out. Because if I don't get trapped in something, then the tornadoes that come through are always just like, oh, cool, 3 of them are here. Oh, I got stuck on a bunch of stuff. Okay, I'm dead. Great.
And those stupid things follow you too.
Yeah, they're rough. Like the rest of it is fine. If I don't have any of that kind of environmental stuff going on, I'm doing okay. But that one especially is pretty frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Moon? Did you touch it at all?
I mean, I did a couple of runs, but like my web is locked out because I need to do the challenges of that stupid Sickle guy.
Yeah.
And like twice I got to the boss and then got like an idiot, wasn't paying attention to the timer, and then the boss area was literally inside of like a building area.
Yeah. Oh.
So it's like, oh, I can't move anywhere. Screwed. Great.
Well, the crap thing too is the whole point about him not being, or it being able not to heal, is because it's supposed to do more damage to monsters. But I don't notice that difference at all. Like, if it does, it's very negligible.
Right.
And that's kind of the crapshoot, because if I can't heal on a 15-minute run, I better see a difference on the damage output that I'm doing.
You're doing like 25, 33% more damage or something.
Yeah, there has to be a payoff, and I don't feel that there is a payoff with it, so whatever.
That's a great game.
Yeah, outside of that, though, it's still a great game. It is most definitely. Even playing it on hardcore, I was still zoning out. Like, no, pay attention. You need to
wake back up. You're snapping in your own face.
Next game that I played, I have been feeling a hankering for playing a Souls-like game, so I started getting back into Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice. I left off in the castle, and I couldn't remember what I was doing in the castle. And this is going to be kind of brief, so I just looked up a video just to kind of reorient myself on why was I here? What was I supposed to be doing?
Right.
So I figured that out real quick. I'm like, all right, cool. So I did a lot of exploring. Took a while for me to get back into the swing of things, because this is widely considered to be one of the harder Souls-like games. Because it requires you to be pretty on point with like your deflections and your parries and stuff like that. Luckily there is, if you go back to the beginning temple, you can fast travel whenever you get to any of your spirit statues, the bonfire equivalent. There is an undead friendly enemy there that you can just keep challenging to fights, and you can do like a tutorial kind of thing. So I am really glad that they put that in there for instances like this, where it's like, how do I... All right, R1 is swing sword. Do I have a heavy? No, I don't have a heavy. Okay, let me get back to that. Oh, that's my prosthetic arm. What does that even do anymore? So I could go back to that guy and just fight him and get my timing back in, and remember that when the red kanji comes up, you can't block that. You need to dodge unless you have the Mercury counter, which I do. So then I had to get back into the timing for that thing.
Right.
So it was mostly just a lot of time of just getting used to the game again. I think I've explored quite a bit of the castle, and I think I'm coming up on a boss. It kind of feels like I haven't seen one in a while, so it feels like the next door I open should be a boss kind of thing.
Right.
And that seems terrifying to me right now because I'm still having issues with like the higher end regular enemies with getting their timing down. So I can't imagine what fighting a boss is going to feel like for me here in a couple minutes. So I'm looking forward to it though. It's still a cool game, and I really like how it's got like that Tenchu feel where it's like you just run around in stealth and you can almost one hit kill anything in the game.
Right.
So my last game for this week is Eternights.
First off, is there a clicking going on in someone's track? Okay, I hear some clicking somewhere. Is it me?
I don't hear. I do have my windows open, so maybe it was something outside. Okay. I don't hear anything now, though.
Okay.
But yes, my last game is Eternights. My physical copy came in this week.
Yep.
I see that Boston also had his physical copy come in sometime this week as well.
Yep, came in alongside Bluey the video game. You know, best friends.
Just in time for your Bluey Xbox giveaway.
That's it's a very fun Xbox.
Yes.
Hey, I hope I win it.
Yeah, ditto.
You can sit right here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my son sent me the link to that, and I'm like, what am I even like? I just got like the tiny little thumbprint image at first.
Even
I'm like,
is
what
this?
am I looking at? And I'm like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
But anyway, Eternights. My first thought is this game is dark, and I can't play it during the day because I have windows in my office that shine directly onto my TV, which makes it very hard for you to see things that are in pitch black.
Right.
Outside of that, though, it's been a pretty fun game. I've made it up to the first dungeon that I have a 5-day window to beat it.
Right.
I have not gone into it yet. It was literally just, hey, here's a dungeon. You have 5 days. Now you can start doing your persona stuff of, do you want to talk to people during the day, or do you want to do the dungeon and then talk to people?
Right. Do you want to go forage for things out in the town at night, or do you want to go train?
Yeah, so when I get back into it, I am planning on just going into the dungeon to see what that's going to be like now. I am having fun with it. The combat's been pretty fun. I had seen a lot of people complaining online that you can't cancel an action in combat.
Right.
That does not bother me at all because I don't button mash in my games. So I know the enemy is going to attack. I've realized that you can't seem to stagger enemies, so I usually get like 2 or 3 hits in, and then I wait a moment, and that's usually around the time when they go to attack. So then I just dodge. I get my slow down bullet time thing, and then that's when I start doing all of my attacks and all that, and that works out for me pretty well so far.
Yeah, it's definitely not a game where you go in and you hit them 15 or 20 times and then they just It's not. Like you said, you're hitting them 2 or 3 times and then you're waiting and dodging and then hitting them a bunch of times and then kind of rinsing and repeating.
I will say too, the QTE for using your elemental fist has thrown me off a couple times in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because you're doing the whole thing where it's like, oh, stop the circle within the window, and then tap square, and then stop the circle in the window again, and it's all right. I screwed that up a couple times, but the good thing about that is usually when you screw that up, if it's against a normal enemy, they're usually pretty much dead at that point. If it's against a boss, that will stagger them for a moment. So that gives you time to hurry up and try to rebuild as much of that bar so that you can try to do your elemental fist again. So it's an interesting, I guess, like combat cycle of just kind of wait and see and try to fill up your bar and get that going. I know another thing that people complained about is healing. There aren't items in this game.
Yeah.
And you can only get healed by your support characters, which you only have a certain amount. I think it's called SP. And it doesn't recharge by itself.
Correct.
It sounds like the only way it recharges is if you die enough times, it will recharge a bit. Or if you leave the dungeon, it'll recharge.
Yeah, it's very much very much a Persona 3, where it's like if you're out of SP and you're out of healing, you need to go back to the train and rest for the night and go back in the dungeon the next day.
Yeah. actually think with the story so far, I think they actually do something really cool where they bring up at a point in the beginning where you were the only person fighting. The other characters that are with you, they're non-participants unless you're being healed or they're doing support stuff for you.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of bring up, it's like, well, it's kind of weird that they don't even look at us. Why are they only going after the main character?
Right.
You know? So it's cool that, I mean, it sucks that you don't have a full party that you can go with, but it's cool that you can level them up and you don't have to worry about them. They are just there to support you, and that's it.
Yeah.
I just unlocked an ability because I'm figuring out there's like essences. There's like a white and a black essence.
Yeah, right.
So far, it seems like you get from beating bosses because you don't actually level up and you don't get experience.
Mm-hmm.
But when you beat a notable enemy, you seem to get this essence, and that allows you to put points into a skill so that you can unlock it. So now I've got, with Yuna, one of the support characters that you get, I have her first skill, which is like a charge attack. And that uses like a little yellow gold bar that refills as I hit enemies, so I just use that constantly. That tends to knock back smaller enemies, and that gives me room to just kind of beat up on them before something else attacks me. And I just unlocked the ability for I think his name China, something like that. Yeah. Chani something.
Yeah.
He just got powers now too, but I haven't had a chance to see what they do yet.
Yeah, I forget what he does.
I know they just said that he's mostly support magic. So yeah. I don't know if he's just like buffing me up or something.
Yeah, I think it's buffs
and
debuffs if I remember, but I haven't. I've also had a hard time. You can get some essences in dungeons too, but it seems like at the beginning of the game there aren't really any. Like it's really just you got to hack and slash your way out of the beginning of the game here.
Yeah, they're kind of guiding you slowly through some of the systems, and a lot of the things they haven't even explained yet. This is just stuff that I've looked at the menu and like, okay, that's cool, and I'm just kind of reading up on it. But the game doesn't actually tell you how some of this stuff works yet.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I'm glad that Chani does not, because originally it seemed like they were setting him up to become like the jealous friend who turns against you.
Yeah,
and they not rectify it, but they change that so that it's like, okay, no, you screwed up. It's cool. We're cool.
Yeah.
And then he accepts it. It's like, cool, because we're only a couple hours into it, and I already hate you, and I hate the choice that it seems like you're about to make.
Right. I don't want this to be the storyline. It is kind of a. There are a couple times where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna do the Persona thing, and the game 5 minutes later takes a left turn. It's like, no, we're actually doing something totally different. It's like, oh, okay, great, yeah. Cool, great, I like it.
Thank you for making me think one thing. You're like, no, silly person, we're doing this. So very cool. That's like fine. I'm glad they used the trope just to go a different path as kind of a red herring.
Yep.
However, I'm only 3, maybe 4 hours in, and I've already seen an anime girl in her bra. So
yeah,
there's that.
Yep. It's still it knows what it is and subverts it sometimes, and then other times it's like, no, this is an anime thing.
Yeah,
it's like,
you know what you signed up for. I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
So, as dumb as it is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. So far, I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to dive into that dungeon to see how that turns out. I'm curious on how, because with any of the Persona games, I always felt like the time limit there was just to make you feel like you were hurried.
Right.
But as long as you went about it in a calm manner, you usually had more time than you needed.
Mm-hmm.
Except for there's always one dungeon that always screws you, and you're always like, last day, let's go.
That's right. We got 3 days. It's like, wait, no.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious on how that works out in this game as well with the time frame and all that. But I'm really looking forward to playing more of it. It's a short game. I looked it up just to see, and a lot of people are putting it at about 12 hours just to beat the story.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm down with short games right now.
Yeah,
especially since it wasn't even a full price game. I think it was only 40, 50.
Yeah, physical I think was only 40. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm fine with that. It seems fun. The voice acting, I'm playing in English. The voice acting's fine.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, the character models they're fine. you know, they're not going to win any prizes, but they get the job done.
I mean, it's one of those things where like the developer clearly didn't have a huge budget, but does a lot with what they have. Like it's a pretty cool style.
And most of the game seems to have been made by a single person.
Yep.
You know, with help with other people, but mostly this is a one-person company. So the fact that the characters look a little weird when they're doing expressions, I'll get over it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like dude's doing his best and it's coming up pretty good. So
yeah, totally.
But that's all I've been playing. I'm hoping to get more time in, but you know, we got holidays coming up, so
yeah,
we'll see what happens. But that's all I've been doing.
I've been playing a bunch of Theatrhythm Final Bar Line over the last couple of weeks, I guess, but most of it hasn't really been notable enough to bring up on the show. But this week I finally hit the platinum in this game isn't bad. It's either do one thing that's kind of hard, which is what I finished that I'll talk about here in a minute, or do a lot of stuff in the game that isn't necessarily grindy, but you're just going to have to play a lot of the game. The thing I did this week was I finally completed 20 stages in one run of Endless World. I talked about it a couple months ago when I talked about this game. Endless World is a mode you open up once you finish the main story of all of the individual games. And once you do that, this last node opens up, and it's essentially like a random playlist where you're getting songs from every piece of music that you have in the game overall. And that includes deluxe stuff, but also DLC. So the more DLC you have, the more stuff you have in that mode too. And they actually just released a bunch of Final Fantasy 16 songs in there too, which was a pleasant surprise. It was free for me. It's hard to tell because I have like the deluxe season pass whatever, so I'll just get whatever comes out. I don't know if it's free for everybody, but it was like 5 to 8 songs. It was a pretty good selection of tracks from that game. But I was having a really hard time doing this because the game gets each time you clear a stage, you get a harder quest to complete in the next series of stages. So at the beginning of it is just going to be like, hey, get 2 treasure chests, which you're going to get like 13 of them every time you finish a level, so that's not anything super difficult. And then it gets into things where it's like summon, perform 2 summons in one stage. It's like, all right, that's not too, I'll get my summon team out here and we'll do our thing and no big deal. But the real trick of it is, unlike the normal stages where you don't have to complete the quest, unless you're like me and you go for the platinum and then you have to complete all of them. If you don't complete a quest, you lose a life point, and you only have 3 of them. So you can kind of screw up 3 stages before it kicks you back out, and you have to start back from stage 1. So having to complete 20 of those songs in one run, and you can leave Endless World and come back, so you don't have to sit there for however long and do it. But I finally did it because I was having like a good day where I was feeling good about playing the game, and I feel like I got a bunch of really good quests that sort of either suited my teams really well or were in songs that I knew how to play really well. And then, of course, once I was at the 21st song, the Endless World got even harder, and then I totally screwed up at that point. So like 20 apparently is my absolute maximum for that stuff. So I'm really happy that I did that because that was the only one I was really worried about. The only trophies I have now are basically like defeat 5,000 enemies total, which I'll just get over time because every song you beat, if the song has enemies in it, you'll beat like maybe 10 at most, so that's just going to be a time thing. And then stuff like the big one that I have coming up is clear every quest in the main game. So that's going to be every single quest and every single song in the main set of songs. I actually, speaking of that, I also just got the trophy for playing all of the songs and clearing them at least once. So that cool. I have been playing this for a very long time and have not yet played all of the songs. Because I think at this point now, with all the DLC that came out, there's over 600 songs in here. The trophy doesn't require you to play the deluxe edition or DLC songs, but there's just so much stuff in this game that I'm probably gonna be playing it for a good long time and not see all of it, which is pretty exciting. So,
I mean, you're listening to great soundtracks while you play, so
yeah, it's really
some of them better than others, but you know,
yeah, there's some stuff in there that's not really great. I'm still not a fan of Type Zero's soundtrack. Final Fantasy 2 has some good stuff in it, but not super outstanding. But it's really great. Fallen Borderline is super good. I'm happy I bought it. It's one of those games where I'm happy I got the Deluxe Suckers Edition or whatever it's called, because it came with, a lot of times you buy them and you're like, oh, all right, I played this 2 days early, whoopity-doo, and now I don't play it. But the amount of extra songs I got in this game alone is, I think, made that purchase for someone like me that likes video game music, especially Square Enix music. I think that makes a lot of sense, because having Nier songs and Xenogears and Chrono Trigger and Legend of Mana and
Xenogears one. That's what got me.
The Xenogears ones are real good, man. There's the Chrono Cross tracks were a little bit of a bummer. There was one track in there I don't remember at all, but the Chrono Trigger ones were really good. They did a good job on those. They did a good job with the Saga ones too, which is pretty exciting. So Final Borderline is really, really great. I wholeheartedly recommend it. I know the Switch version runs pretty well too. I'm playing it on PS5, but I love it. And if you like video game music, especially Square Enix music, it's really good. Highly recommended. I played more Yakuza Like a Dragon. I am making my way through the story now, trying to not play as much of the side quest stuff as much as I really want to. I'm trying to, from what I can tell, a lot like the other Yakuza games, the side story stuff, the side quests you run into all the time, those don't go away. Or at least at the end of the game, they might pop back up after you complete the game. I think Yakuza 0 did that.
Yeah.
So I'm not worrying a lot less about those ones, because a lot of those either lead to some items I don't really need right now, or a new Poundmates summon, which is good, but I also don't need that quite right now. So I have unlocked the first of the kind of repeatable underground dungeons that you can use to grind out character levels or job levels or stuff like that. I am really tickled that this game, as much as this game loves and wants to be a Dragon Quest game, there is a Metal Slime equivalent in this game as well. Because I was fighting a boss and a bunch of henchmen in that area, and was walking into an enemy that I only did 1 damage to, and I was like, wait a minute here. And I did a multi-hit attack, and every hit only did 1 damage, but it was the health bar was going down pretty quickly, and I was like, okay, Dragon Quest. Love it.
At least it wasn't you missing, because I hated those slimes too. Where it's like, oh, yeah. miss, run away. Yeah, I was just like, what? Come on, man. But usually I clear about half of its health, and then it runs away. And it's like, oh, I almost had it. Ugh. But I am moving pretty quickly through the story at this point, because I'm kind of focused on I ran across a non-spoiler explanation the other day of where the difficulty spike is the big complaint. I was really enjoying looking this up, because
the big complaint about this game is, oh, the difficulties, oh, the spike, there's a giant spike and blah, blah, blah. And from what I understand, at Chapter 12, you go to deal with a giant boss fight, and then the game is pretty much like, hi, just unlocked a new optional dungeon that you should go be doing right now, cough, cough, cough. Basically putting both hands on your back and like pushing you to the doors and be like, you should maybe go do this right now. Cough, 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 cough. So I was looking up a bunch of that stuff. I was also really enjoying. People forget that all of the Yakuza games, but especially this one, are RPGs. The other ones were just beat 'em up RPGs. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are really upset that you have to grind in an RPG, which tickles me greatly. But I was looking at that and thinking, all right, I should just, before I get into doing all this side stuff, before I get distracted and all this stuff, let me just get to that point where I need to go doing this optional stuff, doing all the grinding and things like that. And then I can work on doing the side stuff, doing the optional stuff. So I'm in Chapter 8 now. I'm almost done with Chapter 8. I just lost a party member for very interesting story reasons, which is a bummer because I like that character a whole bunch. I'm having a blast. It's one of those things where like they're finally, when you, at the beginning of every Yakuza game, something happens, you go to prison for a really long time, and then coming out, everything's different. So at the end of that, like everything's different at the end of at the beginning of kind of the intro, you get dumped in a different city, and there's I was talking about this without spoiling it. You find something on you when you get dumped, and that kind of leads you sort of circuitously into this mystery that you're in. And I've been really wondering what this thing was the entire game, and they finally answered that question, which then opens up like 15 other questions in this game. So it's kind of doing the Yakuza thing I like, where it's like, aha, that's what it finally is. Oh, now everything is, okay, sure, cool. Oh, but that's, all right, I'm in over my head again. Okay.
Because I know in like the, I don't remember if it was Zero or the first one, where it was like you were basically had the picture of the woman and the tattoo. And that was all you had to go off of for like the longest time.
Right.
And everyone's like, oh yeah, I kind of recognize the tattoo, but like nobody would tell you about it. So.
Yeah. It's very much that, where it's like a lot of people being like, you shouldn't have this thing. Where did you get this thing? And you're like, man, I don't know. And then like, someone rips off their jacket and you start fighting. So it's Yakuza.
The best part. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there was a really good one that like, Kasuga like ripped off his jacket and started like getting the music swelled, and he started getting into like fight stance, and the person he wanted to fight was like, no, what are you doing? What are we doing here? Why are you doing that? What's wrong with you? I'm not fighting you. So that was pretty good, but I unfortunately haven't had a lot of time to play the story of this because it is very much an M-rated game. Like, they keep going back to showing not footage, but like movies and screenshots of main character dying at the end of a chapter early on in the game. So like I can't really play this in front of my kid, which is a bummer. I can do like some of the side stuff, but I'm really itching to get back into the story of this and kind of see where it's going.
Moment, man, where it's like when someone's getting ready to chop off a pinky, just be like,
that's right.
You remember this moment. The next time you screw up,
that's right.
This is what's happening.
Honor matters to the Yakuza.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Honor is how this house runs. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So I'm still really enjoying it. I'm kind of, and reviews seem really good about Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, and I know that one's really, really short. So maybe after I finish this in like 6 more months, maybe I'll pick that up. Then we'll be ready for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which they just put out a statement this week saying like, hey, it's our biggest Yakuza game ever. Please make sure you sleep and eat. Don't stay up to play this. It's super duper long, like for real. So That's concerning.
I gotta pick up all the other ones. I just don't have the time.
Yeah, I would really like to play all of those, but like, they're all very long and very good, and so much of the side stuff is so good that, like, sure, you could probably blow through the game on easy within a couple of hours, but then you're going to miss all the bonkers side stories.
You're going to miss Majima everywhere.
Exactly. I don't want to miss Majima
That is what pulled me through Zero, was just that guy showing up randomly wanting to fight.
So good. Yeah. I'm still really enjoying this. I'm really glad that I picked this back up, and I'm really glad I'm playing it because I sort of feel like I wanted an RPG right now, but maybe not one. Like, I bounced off Chained Echoes, I bounced off of Sea of Stars. Like, I don't think I needed a really traditional RPG, but I think I needed something like this kind of modern, really interesting take on a turn-based JRPG. So
it's like a Star Ocean 2 just got released. I'm like, I don't have 80 hours to put. Yeah, I watched a video and I was like, oh my god, that looks great, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have it in me right now. Yeah. Last game I've been playing here is Risk of Rain Returns. Spent a little bit of time doing a couple of runs this week. I finally got my first winning run in the game. The final boss that's in here is still really good. It is semi unchanged in a way that I'm not going to really talk about, but unlike Risk of Rain 2's boss, which is too hard, Risk of Rain 1's boss is really difficult, but I never felt like impossibly so. This game is really great. I really do appreciate that the developers, it's the same developers as the original release of Risk of Rain, but they credited the original team in the credits too, which is nice. Publishers, it's not that hard to do. I know the developers want to do that, but like, you should let them credit the people who did the original work.
Yep.
And I really respect them for letting you unlock more stuff in this game on the easiest difficulty, which I think is called Drizzle. I don't know, because that's the only difficulty I play on, because even normal is really hard. But you can unlock monster logs and stuff way easier on this mode. They drop way more frequently. And the game, I never felt like the first Risk of Rain punished you for playing on Drizzle, but there was always this thing of like, yeah, but if you're playing on like normal, you'd have a lot more stuff at this point. So I really respect that quite a bit. And Moon, you'll have to help me try to remember. In Risk of Rain 2, there was the thing that I liked a lot, where you had all of your characters had skills. They kind of had their main skill, then they had 3 skills that had 2 variations. So your kind of normal unlocked skill, and then you do something to unlock,
and then you get like a different version of that skill. Yes,
right. Like the main guy, the commando in this one, has your kind of Uzi attack that shoots both directions, or the alternate version of it is a shotgun blast. Do you remember if the original Risk of Rain had that in it? Because I don't think it did.
I don't think they had. I think everyone just had their baseline attacks. I'm pretty sure the secondary skills and everything, that was a Risk of Rain 2 thing.
Okay, so they've put that in Risk of Rain 1, where you can unlock those additional skills. But the way they've done it this time, I think, is really interesting. They have a set of challenges that you unlock pretty early on. I don't know if you have to beat the game or if you have to, do X number of things in the game. But essentially, you get your first challenge, and it's just like, hey, defeat all the enemies in this very small level, and defeat a boss, and then defeat the big boss. And do that in under, I think it was 5 minutes. And you'll unlock something. And then once you do that, it unlocks a bunch of extra ones around that, and you can tell for every one of those you'll unlock at least 2 or 3 more. Excuse me, getting choked up about Risk of Rain. The cool part that I like, though, is when you look at all those secondary skills, they have 2 unlock criteria. One is complete this challenge. It's like something trials. I should have written it down. Or defeat like 3,500 enemies as this character. The other one is like defeat this trial or play for 15 total consecutive hours as this character. So I like that they do that a lot, where it's defeat one of these seemingly pretty hard challenges, or just play the game a whole bunch if you want. And I respect that a lot, because I think one of our complaints of Risk of Rain 2 and a little bit of Risk of Rain 1 is it's really hard. And Risk of Rain 2 is almost punishingly so, especially when you dare to attempt to beat it. So I really like Risk of Rain Returns is still really hard. Like there's no two ways about it, but I appreciate softening the edges a little bit. Like you can unlock more stuff on Drizzle. You can unlock this stuff by just playing a whole bunch or getting better at these trials and kind of perfecting them. And I do really appreciate that, because I think, as Moon and I have found in We Roguelike It, there can sometimes be a tendency in roguelike or roguelike developers to sort of be like, no, it needs to be harder. It needs to be the hardest thing you've ever played. And I was like, no, I get it. That should be there for people that really want it, but sometimes I just kind of want to play Vampire Survivors. Like sometimes I just want to play Risk of Rain on the easiest difficulty and complete a run. I don't want to have the most challenging video game I've ever played.
I've heard you guys talk about that too, with like early access roguelikes, where it's like everyone's used to it and they keep adding the difficulty, and then a brand new person plays it on release and it's impossible.
Yep, we've run into that a couple of times.
3 or 4 times at this point, I think.
Yeah, so it's really nice. I don't know if this is a popular opinion or not. I don't really care, but I do really like that they're making this at least a little bit easier, a little bit more approachable, because I think Risk of Rain 1 is really great. I playing this, I do definitely prefer it to Risk of Rain 2. 2 is cool. It just, for me, it misses the mark.
That last level on 2 is ridiculous.
Yeah, like Moon and I, our recommendations have been, just don't finish a run. Just wait for the run to kill you. Just keep looping time and time again.
Loop. Yeah,
and wait for the game to either kill you or be too hard that you can't finish it. Just don't finish a run. It's too difficult. And I appreciate that's not the approach they took in Returns. So it's really great. I love it. The music is remastered music is really great. This first game soundtrack is outstanding. It looks really great. It runs really, really well. I'm playing it on PC and it's stable 60 frames, and it's great. Risk of Rain is great. If you haven't played it, you should do it. Especially Returns is great. That's all I've been playing this week. Let's take a break.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Boop, 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 boop. How long was that? Okay, so about an hour and 45, which is good, because the next segment will probably take us about 10 minutes.
Yep.
5-star runtime. That's what I was thinking when I was editing that episode of Dynamic Soundtrack. I was like, man, that is a 5-star runtime.
I'm just glad that one of our news stories is specifically about, hey, these people are releasing their own kind of idiot edition of...
Right.
Do you have money?
That's right. Are you a sucker?
Yeah.
Yes, I am. That's me.
Very much so. You just had to tell me you had a map.
That's right. That's how they get you.
Map and a soundtrack. That's all it gets.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Are you guys ready for this other segment?
Yep.
Sure.
All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of November 20th, 2023. Nothing. we got them all out earlier in the month. There's literally nothing.
But there is very, very good sales going on right now online.
Yeah, both Microsoft and Sony, both of their stores have really good early Black Friday sales. Yeah. So I'm really keeping an eye on
I'm not looking.
Well, the Discord turned into us saying we're not going to look at this, and then I started talking about, hey, this is on sale now.
No. Yeah, I'm keeping an eye out on sales this week. I'm curious to see if anyone will have a good sale on Alan Wake 2. I think that's the thing I really... Maybe Spider-Man 2, but I want to play Miles Morales first. But I want to see if I can get a cheaper copy of Alan Wake 2 here. Because I'd like to check that game out. Maybe after I play Control again. But yeah. Nothing coming out this week.
Which is also in the sale this week.
That's true. Thankfully, I already own that one. I gotta re-download it. All right, let's talk about 2 quick news stories here. First news story, Baldur's Gate 3 gets a honestly pretty incredible deluxe edition announced. They're putting out a version for PS5, Series consoles, and PC, which has, shockingly... It's really weird to say, the game on disc, which I feel like is sort of unexpected nowadays. PS5 has 2 discs. Series Consoles has 3 discs, which I love us going back to PS1 era. It's like, it's on 3 discs. It's 10 hours of FMV.
If only they would come out with a brick case
now.
That would be fantastic.
The ones we had like unfold a couple times and like you keep having discs unfolding it. Oh man. It comes with a soundtrack. It most importantly comes with a map, because RPGs like this should come with a map, I believe. It's in the Geneva Convention. And there's a bunch of stuff like stickers and a cool box and stuff like that. Most importantly, it's $80. That's it. Like, you get a bunch of cool stuff, and it's not like, it's cheap at $355. They were like, no, we wanted to put out a physical edition and have it not be way more expensive than the other ones. It's only $10 more, and you get, 1, the game physically, 2, a bunch of cool stuff. So, that's cool. Maybe more.
Larian's hitting it out of the park with releasing a really good game that has freaked out other companies to the point that they said, don't expect that from us.
We ain't doing that, man.
To now releasing this suckers edition, like we said, where it's like, oh yeah, for $10 more you get all this cool crap. And I'm like, yes, and I'm also going to buy a water bottle because you guys seem to be doing good, and no one's like, oh, we're being overworked and threatened and sexually harassed, you know?
Right. Yeah. That's super cool. It's expected to release Q1 2024. They also came out and said that they're still aiming for December 2023 for the Xbox edition, the Series X and S edition. So it sounds like it's coming along, and they're getting. I think the quote they said it's really close. So fingers crossed. I hope. Yeah. I really hope it runs well over there, because I know the PS5 version has some trouble in Act 3. I get the impression there's like a really giant city at the end of that game that is kind of choking some consoles and PCs for that matter. So hopefully that stuff is kind of smoothed out by that point. And last news story we have here, we missed this last week. Also, I didn't know if I wanted to talk about it yet, because God. Nintendo... Nintendo and Sony Pictures have announced they're working on a live-action Zelda movie.
Link shouldn't talk.
Yeah, for real, man. Like,
I mean, at this point, 30+ years,
Yeah, I think you
should not talk.
Yeah, like, should be left-handed, shouldn't talk. That's the deal. Yeah.
Yep. Canonically, Link is a lefty.
That's right. The Shigeru Miyamoto and Avi Arad are going to produce the film together. You have probably seen his name attached to most comic book movies in the last 5 to 10 years or so. There are a lot of people out there saying, "Well, he didn't actually really." Sure, I don't know. It doesn't. We're not We're not CinemaSins over here or anything. We actually like things.
The guy has a type, and he always swipes right on comic book movies.
That's right. He swiped right on Venom, so I can't be too mad at him.
Dude, he swiped right on Morbius.
Yeah, I mean, they're not all winners. He wears the shirt and the tie have the same pattern, Moon.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God.
I don't even know what I'd want out of this movie, to be perfectly honest.
That's the big question. I could see... Look, we got lucky with the Mario movie. And I think having that being
I
animated...
haven't even seen that yet. I just hear it's really good.
Yeah. Having that be animated for the Mario movie, I think was the right choice. I'm surprised they're not going that route here, especially with Sony Pictures, because it seems like you could make a very stylistic, like a stylized thing, sort of like the Spider-Man movies, where it's kind of like a more interesting, kind of dynamic art style. But
especially when they do it. The Spider-Verse stuff, or interweaving different art styles into the same movie at the same time.
Oh.
But I mean, like, even... Sorry, go ahead, Moon.
I just thought up with an incredibly great and terrible idea for this movie.
Oh, no.
Have you guys seen Drive? The Ryan Gosling motion picture?
Yeah.
How he basically doesn't speak in that entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
I want something like that set in like a fantasy world where he is obviously trying to, say, rescue Zelda or whatever the case. Defeat Ganon. Maybe even not rescue Zelda, just defeat Ganon.
Right.
So it holds true to the concept of Link not talking, but you do need dialogue and you do need people to talk about what's going on. So they do a Galadriel-like Zelda talking over to Link's mind as he is progressing through the story. So that way you can really annoy the sexists in the audience by having a woman narrate what a man does.
Right.
Just to really, really drive them away.
Now I'm into it. I like it. Yeah, I don't... Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna repeat. I just don't know what I would want out of... Like, what... Do I want, like, an original story? As original as it gets with Zelda.
Right.
Or would I want them to, like, do a movie for Ocarina of Time? Or would I want the rated R version of Twilight Princess, you know? So it's...
My concern going is, like, people have always wanted the, like, darker, more mature Zelda. That's what people say. You don't really want that. So I'm hoping they don't go that direction here. But I hope they try to tell some sort of original story. Like you're saying, it would be not hard to stray from the formula here, but I think you stray pretty close to, like, Ganon's this big bad guy, and he's gonna destroy the Kingdom of Hyrule, something like that. But I really hope they don't try to retell one of the game's stories.
Oh, dude. If they do, it needs to be Majora's Mask.
Yeah, make it real weird.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Or I was just thinking, it's like, or
get
just
Nolan
make it a comedy and just do Minish Cap or Spirit Tracks. Or,
Minish Cap is so good. Interestingly, though, that Nintendo and Sony Pictures are going to finance the movie together, but Nintendo is going to handle 50% of the budget, which is surprising because I don't think that was the case with the Mario movie. That largely seemed to be Illumination doing their own thing and Nintendo being like, yeah, you can Mario, sure, yeah, whatever. Oh, it was good. Yeah, the studio that made Minions into the biggest thing. They knew how to make a kids movie. Strange. So interesting. There's no cast. There's no release info. Of course, this is probably a couple of years off, like these things usually are. But
let's see if the world is still existing at that time.
Right. I'm curious to see what this is going to be. I feel like it was a little bit easier to be sort of at least more positive about Mario, where it's like, yeah, okay, you're going to make a Mario kids movie, sure. I can see how that would work. But now you're going to make a live action Zelda, and it's like, I don't want to be the pessimist about everything, but boy, that sounds like a much harder thing to do in general.
We've only had one good video game movie, and it just released.
Yeah, it was Mortal Kombat.
No,
sorry, Uncharted. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, but I mean, OG Mortal Kombat movie was great.
Yeah, that first one was really good.
No, it definitely was. And even the Street Fighter one gave us like the best movie quote ever.
That's right.
But I'm kind of curious on why they're choosing live action.
Yeah.
I guess is kind of my what. I don't think it's going to soothe me at all, but I'm just curious on why did you guys choose this? You just did an animated film.
Right.
Which does really well. This is another video game. Maybe try to do another animated movie to see how that goes before you push live action. Because I know there is with the anime community, there's still a lot of push and pull on whether the live action TV shows or movies based off of the animes are good or not. And some of those are hit and miss too. But again, there's a lot more misses there than there are hits.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it just seems like a weird choice considering, I don't know, history.
All of video game movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep a close eye on this one as it goes. I'm sure we will talk about whenever they announce the cast for this, because I'm sure that's going to be a pretty spicy one whenever that comes out. Hopefully not worse than the Mario one.
The favorite thing that I had seen so far is Danny DeVito needs to be cast as Tingle.
Perfect.
Oh,
no notes.
That's not bad.
Love it.
Yeah. No, I don't know. The guy from Parks and Rec who plays Ben. I don't know his name. Who is Hot Uncle Ben?
Oh.
I think he would be a good Tingle. Are you laughing at Hot Uncle Ben? Is that what made you laugh?
Yes. It's pretty good. Yeah. All right, that's our episode for this week. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, including a link to the Patreon page, patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones on our bars.
Don't forget all that cool stuff that's coming at you, like the end of the Season 1 of Wayward Sons, and a brand new episode of Dynamic Soundtrack. That's all coming up over the next couple of weeks. Hit that up at the $5 tier or higher. Don't forget, tell your rich friends they owe us. I don't know what for, but probably just for being rich. It's their civic duty to sign up for the Patreon page. If you can't support us financially, totally understand. Rate us wherever you can. Not us, but the podcast. I don't want to hear your thoughts about me as a person. Don't perceive me at all. So he says, live streaming to the internet. But rate the show wherever you can. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Like I say, I know it's a meme, but that stuff genuinely does really help. That helps discovery, and it pleases the algorithm, and we want to be on the good side of the algorithm as it takes over every facet of our society. Make it happy by liking and commenting and subscribing. And share the show wherever you can. Tell your friends, sign up for it on their podcatcher on their phone when they're not looking, and then be like, oh no, it's weird. It's it just showed up on your phone. We're listening to it. How strange. All that good stuff. Try all of that stuff. I think that's it. I'm going to stop myself before I say more dumb stuff. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
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 I did see a great meme related to the Zelda movie. It's the Magneto perfection. I prefer the real blank meme format.
Yep.
I prefer the real Zelda, and it's a picture of Zelda from the one on the Switch I'm playing, whatever the name of it is.
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
Thank you. And then it's like, no, I said the real Zelda, and it's a picture of Zelda from the newest one. The real Zelda, then the previous, then the previous, and the previous, and the previous, going all the way back to like the animated show. Right. And then the very final one is a picture of Link, and it says perfection.
Great.
One more thing before we get to titles.
Yeah.
Moon, you need to text Mackie about the show. Yes, thank you. I will bug him about watching the show. I got to come up with a pitch. I've got to pitch it to him in a way that will make Mackie start watching Supernatural.
If you don't want us to come to your house, you will start watching the show.
It's the most B-movie TV show you can watch. and it's really good.
Literally, I'm thinking the pitch is probably going to be, hey, it's a continuation of the X-Files kind of format and theme, except instead of aliens and stuff, it is B-movie schlock at its finest.
Yep.
But even then, though, it's like a higher beat. Like, we were even, just to get a little into it, we were even talking about how even the CGI and like the practical effects are still really good, like 20 years later.
That's when the CW had a budget.
Yep.
We talked about that too.
All right. What titles you got, Nimp?
I have Papa TVGP. You Had Hope. Book It. Haha, get it?
Boo.
Deluxe Suckers Edition. Honor This Family. Dare to Attempt to Beat It. And Tell Your Wrench Friends they owe us.
That's right. They do. Moon, what do you have?
Just a cool month off. Foolishly, I Had Hope. Blame It on the Kids. Appropriate Michael Jordan meme here. Alan Control. The Payday Way. The Ninjas. Deluxe Suckers Edition. Honor This Family. Swipe Right on Morbius. And Hot Uncle Ben.
Oh, God. I have Happy Birthday TVGP, Papa TVGP, Deluxe Suckers Edition, Alan Control, and Hot Uncle Ben. I like Deluxe Suckers Edition, personally.
I kind of like that one,
I
too.
just did a search, and we have not used Suckers Edition for a title. Episode 350 was called Hallways Are for Suckers. That's a different title.
All right, yeah, I'm cool with Suckers Edition.
Okay.
Yeah. Fair.
Deluxe
Stop
Suckers
talking about
Edition
Supernatural future episodes in chat. Stop. Just, no. Stop.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I'm fine with Deluxe Suckers Edition.
Okie dokie. It has been circled.
And I'm ready.
I am not.
No. Thought that sentence was going to go differently.
No.
I am totally not.
I didn't even really think about titles besides writing them. So usually throughout the show, I kind of just think in the back.
Mm-hmm.
But no, not this time. All right, I think I got something.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 839 for November 20th, 2023. Deluxe Suckers Edition.
All it cost was my soul.
Call 1-800. Nah, I got... That's all.
All right, thanks everyone for listening and watching. We appreciate it. We gotta go. I'm tired. We still gotta record. We were like, we'll see you next week. Bye.
You guys still gotta do another recording?
Uh-huh.
All right, cool. Yeah, see you guys later. Bye.